Hi everyone, we come to chapter 5, that is cloud computing and blockchain technology. And the topics covered are concept of cloud computing, public, private and hybrid cloud, cloud services and blockchain technology. Now, cloud computing provides various services such as servers, storage, databases, networking, software, analytics, and intelligence over the internet. And it gained more popularity when companies such as Amazon, Microsoft, Google, IBM all started promoting cloud computing services. There are three types of clouds: public, private, and hybrid. We look at each. The private cloud is cloud infrastructure operated solely for a single organization, whether managed internally or by a third party and hosted internally or externally. It can improve business, but it raises security issues that must be addressed. Let's talk about private cloud storage or internal cloud storage, which is a type of storage mechanism that stores an organization's data at an in-house storage server by implementing cloud computing and storage technology. And although private cloud storage provides the usability, scalability, and flexibility of the storage architecture, just like a public cloud storage, but it's not publicly accessible. It's owned by a single organization. We come to public clouds. So public cloud services are delivered over the public internet, and they may be offered as a paid subscription or free of charge. Architecturally, there are few differences between public and private cloud services, but security concerns increase substantially when services, application storage, and other resources are shared by multiple customers. Public cloud storage is a cloud storage model that enables individuals and organizations alike to store, edit, and manage data. This type of storage exists on a remote cloud server and is accessible over the internet under a subscription-based utility billing method where the users pay only for the storage capacity being used. The provider hosts, manages, and sources the storage infrastructure publicly to different users. A hybrid cloud service is a cloud computing service that is composed of a combination of private, public, and community cloud services from different service providers. Varied uses for hybrid cloud compositions exist. For example, an organization may store sensitive client data in-house on a private cloud application, but interconnect that application to a business intelligent application provided on a public cloud as a software service. The services offered by cloud computing are platform as a service, infrastructure as a service, and software as a service. Let's look at each. The PaaS or Platform as Service Cloud are created by specialists to deliver the scalability and distribution of any application and to make a company's expenses predictable. The advantage of this service is that for very little money, you can start your own application with no stress and more than basic development. Its design allows you for a lot of scalability since it is based on cloud computing. Infrastructure as a service provides businesses the access to essential web infrastructure such as servers, connections, storage space without the need for them to actually buy or manage these internet infrastructures. And it's a win-win situation because it helps in the specialization and scale which are beneficial both to the managed service provider and the businesses that use the infrastructure. Talking about software as a service, the cloud applications permit the cloud to be leveraged for software infrastructure. This reduces the burden of support, maintenance, and operations for any software. Let's talk about some popular cloud service providers. In the public domain, the leaders are Amazon Web Service, followed by Microsoft Azure, Google Cloud, Salesforce Cloud, IBM Cloud, Oracle, and Alibaba Cloud. Among the private cloud service providers are Abico Private Cloud Solutions, Amazon Virtual Private Cloud, Blue Lock Virtual Private Clouds, VMC Clouds Lifecycle Management, CA Technologies, and Cisco Private Cloud Solutions. We also have some popular cloud storage providers like Google Drive, Dropbox, OneDrive, and iCloud. Coming to blockchain technology, blockchain was invented by a person or a group of people using the name Satoshi Nakamoto in 2008 to serve as the public transaction ledger of the cryptocurrency Bitcoin. The identity of Satoshi Nakamoto remains unknown to date. What is blockchain technology? Blockchain can be understood as an enormous digital logbook. Blockchain technology enables computers in different places to store updated information in a permanent form with all the copies synchronized. Now, the activity registered on blockchain cannot be changed or eliminated. It can only be added to by consensus among the majority of participants in the network. Also, it is decentralized since it's not regulated by any institution, which makes it free of any intermediaries. Now, we're going to talk about this later. Why is it called blockchain? Well, blockchain is, in the simplest of terms, a time-stamped series of immutable records of data that is managed by a cluster of computers not owned by a single entity. Each of these blocks of data, which is why block, is secured and bound to each other using cryptographic principles, which is also called a chain, hence the name blockchain. Let's now look at some of the terms associated with blockchain technology. Ledger or shared ledger or distributed ledger technology, DLT. This is a consensus of replicated, shared, and synchronized digital data geographically spread across multiple sites, countries, or institutions. Unlike a distributed database, there is no central administrator here. Now, let's take the analogy of a Microsoft Excel sheet file with the details of some of your transaction, which may be called ledger. Now, if your Excel file is copied to hundreds of your friends' computers and connected to each other, forming a network, this is called a distributed ledger. Now, there is some kind of synchronizing technology to update this Excel sheet whenever you or your friends update a ledger. The blockchain is actually like that, a digital ledger. The other term that's commonly used is encryption. Encrypting information consists of hiding it in such a way that it is only interpreted if the user has a password or code. Now, in cryptography, ciphering has the same purpose. It's a technique that allows users to protect the exchange of data, and processes in which they are used are more secure. Smart contract is a term coined by the computer scientist Nick Szabo in 1994. It's a computer code which isn't installed on a personal computer or a server. It's a code registered in a blockchain, so it cannot be erased or edited. The three main properties of blockchain technology are decentralization, transparency, and immutability. Talking about decentralization, in a decentralized system, the information is not stored by one single entity. In fact, everyone in the network owns the information. And in the decentralized network, if you want to interact with anyone, you can do so directly without going through a third party. Now, that was the main ideology behind Bitcoins. You and only you alone are in charge of your money. You can send your money to anyone you want without having to go through a bank. Let's talk about transparency. Now, some people say blockchain gives you privacy, while others say it gives you transparency. Here, a person's identity is hidden via a complex cryptography and represented only by their public address. So if you were to look up a person's transaction history, it will not show you any names. It will not say Sid sent 1 Bitcoin. Instead, you will see a very long, complex code sent one Bitcoin. That's how it remains transparent while still being private. Another property is immutability. Now, this means that once something has entered into the blockchain, it cannot be tampered with. The reason why the blockchain gets this property is that of the cryptographic hash function. In simple terms, hashing means that it takes an input string of any length and gives an output of a fixed length. For example, in the Bitcoins, the transactions are taken as input, run through a hashing algorithm, which is SHA 256, which gives an output of a fixed length. Talking of the advantages of Bitcoin technology. The first advantage is that it's distributed. It means that the blockchain data is usually stored in many devices on a distributed network of nodes. The system and the data are highly resistant to technological failures and malicious attacks. Each network node is able to replicate and store a copy of the database, and because of this, there is no single point of failure. A single node going offline does not affect the availability or security of the network. Another advantage of blockchain technology is that it is very stable. Once data has been registered into the blockchain, it is extremely difficult to remove or change it. This makes blockchain a great technology for storing financial records or other data where an audit trail is required, because every change is tracked and permanently recorded on a distributed and public ledger. It's a trustless system. Now, that means that unlike most traditional payment system where transactions are dependent on two parties and also an intermediary is required, like a bank or a credit card company or a payment provider. In blockchain technology, the distributed network of nodes verify the transactions through a process known as mining. For this reason, blockchain is referred to as a trustless system, since the blockchain negates the risk of trusting a single organization and also reduces the overall costs and transaction fees by cutting out the intermediaries and third parties. Let us look at some of the disadvantages of the blockchain technology. Its high use of resources. Blockchains, especially resources used by Bitcoin network, has increased significantly in the last few years, and it currently consumes more energy than many countries such as Denmark, Ireland, and Nigeria. Another disadvantage is the storage requirements. Blockchain ledgers can grow very large over time. The Bitcoin blockchain currently requires 200 GB of storage. The current growth in blockchain size appears to be outstripping the growth in hard drives, and the network risks losing nodes if the ledger becomes too large for individuals to download and store. Another disadvantage is that if public keys get lost, it means you've lost your money. Blockchain uses public key cryptography to give users ownership over their cryptocurrency units. Each blockchain address has a corresponding private key. While the address can be shared, the private key should be kept secret. Users need the private key to access their funds, meaning that they act as their own bank. So if the user loses their private key, the money is effectively lost and there's nothing that they can do about it. Another disadvantage could be vulnerability to attacks. The algorithm that protects the Bitcoin blockchain has proven to be very efficient over the years. However, there are a few potential attacks that can be performed against the blockchain networks. And we end this chapter with a little note about cryptocurrency. Now, cryptocurrency is a digital or a virtual currency that is secured by cryptography, which makes it nearly impossible to counterfeit or double spend. Many cryptocurrencies are decentralized networks based on blockchain technologies, and the two most popular cryptocurrencies are the Bitcoin and the Ethereum. That brings us to the end of this chapter. I hope you found it useful and informative. We will start with Unit 2 very soon. I hope to see you soon. Bye-bye.